your 2026 financial plan aligned with your purpose? Hey folks, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Retirement Roadmap with Master Plan Retirement Consultants. My name is Evan. With me as always, retirement planner Mark Fricks. As we move towards the end of 2025, a lot of people are looking ahead and thinking about how to position themselves for the new year financially, emotionally, even personally. During today's episode, we'll be drawing from a recent Kiplinger article titled 7 Practical Steps to Kick Off Your 2026 Financial Planning. It's a great piece because it goes beyond charts and numbers and focuses on something I believe in deeply, aligning your wealth with your life. For years, financial success has been measured by performance. That is by beating benchmarks, maximizing returns, or building a larger net worth. But real success isn't about accumulation alone. It's about how your money supports the kind of life you want to live. And we see this all the time, Mark and I, when we're working with families who spent years growing their wealth, but realize that the real question isn't how much do I have, it's what is this money really for? An example, there was a couple in their second marriage. Each had children from previous relationships. Their biggest concern wasn't taxes or investments, it was family harmony. They worried that after they were gone, their estate might unintentionally cause conflict or that assets might flow to the wrong heirs. So creating a retirement plan isn't just the technical design, it's the confidence you gain to finally stop worrying about the what-ifs and start focusing on enjoying these precious years and what truly matters to you. It comes back time and time again to purpose in life and in retirement. And when your wealth aligns with your purpose, Mark, your strategy becomes much more than financial. It becomes personal.
Yeah, I think that's the reason many years ago we began using the first page of our financial questionnaire.
Yep.
Our goals
Yep.
and feelings and concerns, and we break them up in the next 2 years. What are your goals? What are your concerns? The next 5 years, so forth and so on, because we want to get down into the meaning of life, of retirement, of family. I mean, money is just a tool. It is certainly not who we are, what we are. It shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a friend of mine used to draw circles. It was the circles of kind of retirement. And one was wealth, one was spiritual. We need a spiritual side, whatever that may be for whoever's listening. There needs to be a health side. There needs to be like, I think the purpose may flow into the spiritual part, but there are these connecting circles that truly filled out someone's life. And as you know, we spend a lot of time talking with folks that are nearing retirement, entering retirement, about what are you going to be doing when you wake up in the morning? What is your purpose? What is your design? But I think we're getting deeper than that today as well.
Yeah.
I just want to kind of introduce how that is the beginning of everything we do. What are you concerned about? What it is, the kids and the marriage from one marriage and the other marriage, and that comes out. Things like that come out.
Once you understand your purpose too, it can make retirement look completely different. You know, some people change their entire outlook on what they want to do in retirement based on their purpose, and it doesn't always have to do with leaving work as what retirement looks like for them. Maybe cutting back hours or moving into a different field. I mean, it looks different for every person, of course. But yes, step number one, okay. And we mentioned this. You mentioned this already with goals. Clarify your values. Write down the principles that guide your decisions, whether family security, philanthropy, lifestyle goals, something else. This list becomes the filter or the foundation for every financial choice.
And that needs to be part of, if it's a married couple, them together.
Right.
Because it happens together. If it's a happy marriage, a good solid marriage, that needs to be planned accordingly. So many times folks come in and again, they start sharing their goals or their concerns, and the other one looks at them and goes, I never knew that, or I never realized that. And so having them come together like that, and that's why folks will say, well, can I come in without my spouse for the first few meetings? Well, I'm like,
You really shouldn't.
you can, but we're going to be kind of resetting that,
Yeah.
if you do. So you really need to, if you're a team, you need to keep it as a team through retirement.
And it doesn't mean you have to agree on everything
No.
or have the same goals, but you have to know each other where you are, and that's going to inform your alignment and your planning.
And it's rare that it is the same goals. I mean, again, different. That's what I think. That's what makes a lot of marriages work, right? They're different, but yet they bring those differences together. It does not need to stop at retirement.
Yeah. So once we've got that foundation of values, the second step would be to prioritize your objectives. So It's as simple as separating your must-haves from nice-to-haves. Paying for children's education might be essential, and maybe a vacation home is extra bonus or something like that.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. That's your personal priority. But ranking goals prevents competing priorities from derailing the plan.
Right. Again, it's communication, it's being honest, sharing what is important, well, that's not as important to me. And it's so funny, couples, even together, will agree on things that are totally different than the next couple we talk to as well. Some folks are like, oh, we want to leave as big of a legacy as we can for our kids. We want to give them what we didn't have. And the next couple's like, we want to use it up.
I want that last dollar spent on the last day.
We educated them. We helped them all along the way. Now stand up, put on your big boy and big girl pants or whatever, and get to work. And then a lot of times it's a combination. But that's just an example of how everybody has a different view of that. So that's why we dig down. We don't just assume anything.
Yeah.
Assume that this must be important to you. We want to ask and dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and this might be a good time to throw around. You hear the word holistic retirement, or the term holistic retirement, thrown around a lot, and we are holistic retirement planners, and that does inform the fact that when we are making our plans for our clients, we do have to include the entire comprehensive retirement picture, from wealth and growth and income to tax strategy to estate and legacy planning. And part of the holistic discussion is it needs to be comprehensive and holistic, because if you make a change in one area, it could inevitably affect another area. But for us, it goes even further, and it's about purpose. It's about what is the underlying foundation of all that? Like, what is the point of everything? Yes, we need to live. We need to pay for our bills. We need to not outlive our money. But what is our purpose for the next third of our life? 25% of our life, a quarter of our life. So,
well, I think that's the reason. I'm sorry to interrupt. I also think that's what makes it so powerful to have that plan from a holistic approach, is because it takes away a lot of the worry, which allows us to truly enjoy our purpose and the plans we've made. That's everything from a simple income plan, knowing where our income's coming from. That could be something as simple as understanding that if I pass away, I'm taken care of, or the family's taken care of. If I'm alive, can't make decisions, I've got somebody to make decisions for me. If taxes go up, we have this plan. If my spouse dies, we have this plan. That's a very high level feeling of just calmness.
Yeah.
Again, not having to worry about if the market goes down, I may not can take my monthly amount out this month because I'll be digging into the principal or whatever it may be. So taking the worry out allows people, I think, to further pursue those goals and purposes.
Right. Step number 3. Define your legacy. Look beyond the question of who will inherit your assets, who gets what, and consider how you want to be remembered. So do you want to create traditions, support charities, or establish trusts that last beyond your lifetime?
Again, that comes into almost, there's we used to use this a lot, haven't used it as much lately, but I think they call it an ethical will. And I may have brought this up a few episodes ago, but it's kind of a way of writing out what's important to you and what your core beliefs are. And not that the kids and grandkids may not have seen you living those out, but there are certain things that maybe they did know about your upbringing or what you truly believe in, what you've learned. Hey, I used to believe this, but now I've seen because of life this happening as well. So I think that might be something we want to introduce more and more.
Yeah, this whole topic has had me thinking about some of our earlier meetings in the client process, and the very first thing we discussed is retirement goals, hopes, dreams, fears, things like that. I think we should add a line, what is your purpose? that'll slow down the meeting process, because that's a hard thing to define for
and
yourself.
We do kind of bring it up. We talk about you've got to establish what that is. We see, and again, I think I brought this up before, but we see clients as they come in before retirement, and we see them coming in after retirement, and some of them are just glowing. They're living their best life. Others are like, they look older. They actually look older just within a year or so. Maybe their health has deteriorated, and I think a lot of that is health from a standpoint, or are they taking care of themselves, or are they exercising, walking, or whatever. But I think also the mental and the spiritual side and all of that, again, and it's so critical, because, just like, most people my age, I've worked my whole life.
Yeah.
I started when I was age 13. selling Christmas cards door to door for those of you that are curious. So, and so it's so much is wrapped up into that, and then started having children and grandchildren, and so that became a very important part as well. But it has to all come together from that standpoint. And I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here. Hope I'm not delivering a word salad, but it's hard to describe really what we talk about in those meetings from a purpose standpoint. But it is what drives you, and sometimes it's family. And so you spend a lot of time with family. You do get-togethers, you do retreats and things like that. Does that need to be all of it? Probably not, but many folks, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Number 4. Engage a holistic advisor. Now that sounds self-serving, given what I just said, but truly,
where can I find one of it?
Look for an advisor who goes beyond investment performance to address taxes, estate planning, insurance, and family dynamics. We talked about that holistic, comprehensive retirement plan, and also ask how they incorporate well-being and values into the planning process. And again, that's what we just talked about. It's vital now. The world, again, it's 25 plus years of, hopefully, the golden years of your life. Not only do you need to make sure that it's secure, but the peace of mind that comes from that, not only from the security, but we actually are making the most of these years. We're living the life that we've been working to build.
And many times, as you know, we'll encourage the parents to bring their children in, their adult children, because they're already involved from a standpoint of maybe being the executor or the executrix, the trustee, maybe the agent on their financial power of attorney or whatever, but also they're part of the family. And most of them are going to be inheriting some of this money. So having that family meeting and we'll ask the parents, we'll ask the client, how much can we share? How much financial can we share? Things. Some are like, we're open book. Others are like, we don't want the numbers necessarily. We don't want them to think they're getting all this, but at the same time. But I think it is an important meeting to have to really make sure that everybody's on the same page. Oh, that's what's important to mom and dad. Oh, that's how they want us to handle this and things like that. And I think it's just a grown-up thing to do. I'm not saying you involve the grandchildren unless the parents are really old and the grandkids are getting up in age as well. But I think that is a very important thing, and I don't see very many, if any, holistic planners or advisors, period, doing something like that.
Well, that's the next point. I want to jump into that. But if you don't know where to find a holistic advisor, I know a couple that you can reach out to right now. Master Plan Retire, masterplanretire.com. That's our website. There is a Schedule Now button that will bring you directly to our calendar. That you choose a time that works best for you. We'll discuss your retirement hope, dreams, fears, run a series of reports for you, give you it's completely complimentary, an opportunity to see where your strengths and weaknesses are in your own retirement. So again, that's masterplanretire.com, or call us at the office, 770-980-9262. So step number 5 is exactly what you were alluding to. Now you've defined your purpose and your goals and your objectives. You've built these things up, defined your legacy. Now schedule a family conversation. Bring your spouse or heirs into the discussion. Even a simple conversation about what matters most can ease tensions and set expectations in the future. And we've talked about this a little bit before too, whether it's family movie night and then maybe at the end you're hanging out, or maybe even at Thanksgiving, although that can already be some tension in the air. Pizza night. Game night, whatever, schedule that time with your family. And it doesn't have to be super defined, but share how you feel about these sorts of things, like what your idea of your legacy would be with your loved ones, because when the time comes and they are looking at these documents, these estate documents, and trying to figure out all this stuff, there will be a through line of, oh, Dad really cared about this. That's why moving things this way was so important to him. Let's make sure we're on the same page, and it really does bring your family together in a time that could be a little bit more hectic, or it's already a tough time. But.
Well, I think it's a showing of love. I really do.
Yeah.
To share all this, and it's hard in today's world. I mean, you got one kid and his wife living out in Washington State. You've got another daughter and her husband living in Maryland, and they're all over the place. And so that's why sometimes it's nice to bring them here to the office. We bring them in on a conference Zoom call, and you're able to see all the kids, and you're able to discuss. Maybe some are in the office, some are out somewhere else. But also it gives them someone like us to kind of guide the conversation. And I've never had one go south, by the way, go bad, but we can at least help guide and say, well, let's talk about this now.
Yeah.
And this is important, things like that. So I think that's something else that I think clients should take more advantage of.
Yeah, and as their advisor, we are seeing more and more. They're bringing in their children, younger generations, because they're concerned about the legacy handoff, and we've had to do that more. We've been around 15 years, so we're seeing our earlier clients start to pass away, and their children becoming clients through that process, or just making sure that things are handed off as smoothly as possible, and we're kind of the quarterback until they're done and don't need us anymore. It's become a big part of what we do now.
Yeah, and what's nice is a lot of them already have a trust in us because they've seen what we've done for mom and dad.
Yeah, they might already have a relationship with us.
Yeah, and so there was a recent case where I'd met the daughter several times, had not met the son. They were a little bit contentious against each other, but we were able to bring them together, and I think because the mom trusted us and the daughter trusted us, the son trusted us. And so we were able to give them the very best advice. They both now have their own plans. They've taken what they've inherited from their mom, and we've put it to good work. They both actually retired. I don't know how this would come out, but maybe their mom passing away, part of the gift was, you can now retire, because they were in their early 60s.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a gift their mom gave them, was to be able to, because until that point, they were a long way away from retiring.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of neat to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Step number 6, check your alignment annually. Now, at least once a year, revisit your goals, compare them with your financial plan. Life events change, tax laws change, shifting priorities may require adjustments, and that's something that is almost our mandatory minimum with our clients. We have to at least, once they're through the planning process and we have a plan in place, we need to at least meet once a year, because life happens. Obviously, they call us anytime they need us, but we've got a mandatory set in stone, this has to happen. And it's super important. And it could be as simple as just to check in all the numbers of, yeah, everything's looking good, this is where we're supposed to be. But sometimes it's like you have to really realign your focus a little bit.
Inevitably, there's almost always something that will happen during the course of a year that will change something. May not be a major change. It may just be that we paid the house off, so we don't need as much income coming in.
Yeah.
We've got a new grandbaby. We want to make sure they get them in the will or trust or whatever. So sometimes it's a small thing. Sometimes it's a big thing, like a major tax bill has been passed. So it's almost always something that's changed. But even if there's not, it still feels good to kind of get back on. Back at base one and say, okay, we're set, we're good, we've had a good year, we've made money in these areas. I want to tweak this area because that part of the economy is changing, shifting, technology, whatever. That portfolio is not working as well. So it's just a great time to pull all that together.
Yeah, well, and we've spoken on this before, but the retirement plan is built to be flexible. It is built to move with life's changes.
Has to be, because
life
is not linear. Life's not set in stone, as we've learned by the time we reach retirement age, right? And so that's why we do have so many contingencies built in to our planning and the ability to change direction, whether it be a slight veer or whether it be a direct 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Step number 7. Watch for red flags. Warning signs include strained family conversations. For instance, maybe you notice your kids feel really uncomfortable talking about money with you, or don't want to think about that stage, or things like that. Stress, which can undermine health, or an inability to answer the question, what is this money for?
Right. And that's one thing we do, is we have kind of a job assigned to each bucket of money, right, so to speak. So, one account might be great for delivering income for the living, but it's not a great thing to inherit. So we're going to spend that down. We're going to make sure, there's something left, of course, is inherited, but that's designed to last the lifetime of the parents. Whereas this one over here can be inherited tax-free. Or tax efficiently. That's a great legacy bucket type of thing.
Right.
So every bucket has a job. I'm even thinking about beginning to put the title of the job on each bucket. We're not doing that.
We do it with some clients.
We do, yeah. Some say, I want to know what that was for, and we'll label it, so we can do that. But it's that's so critical, because as we tell folks when they're beginning the process with us, most of us, or most clients when they come to us, have one or two major buckets of money. And so those were accumulated over a lifetime of working.
401k, 403b, IRA, whatever.
TSP.
Giant,
and so
giant tax-deferred bucket.
typically,
Yeah.
typically. And so those had one job, and that job was to grow. You put money in, hopefully your company put money in, over time the market grows. But in retirement, there are anywhere from a half dozen to a dozen or more jobs. And I'm not going to go through them all today, our time is short, but we want each one, whether it be short-term income, long-term income, again, legacy, tax-free growth, tax-free income, different variations of portfolios that grow differently in different markets, all with a specific job. So we start slicing that up almost like a pie and assigning each job. And that's one of the things I love doing besides interacting with clients and new prospects is designing that and seeing what it looks like. It's almost like a Van Gogh painting, but much simpler because I'm more of a puzzle guy.
Yeah. Well, you can buy Van Gogh puzzles.
That's true. I probably have somewhere along the line.
But that is the one of the more interesting parts. I mean, the best part about this job that I've come to realize is how relational it is, especially for like a financial industry. We've got a very relational job. We know our clients really well. We know things that they don't tell their children, or
or even their hairdresser.
We get to know, or even their hairdresser. Well, that's a little close. I don't know. They probably tell their hairdresser. We get really close to them, and this is which we need to be, because we are entering this relationship with the intention that we will walk with you for the rest of your life if that's your intention. And our relationship is meant to be the long term because we're here to walk alongside you with that retirement plan. And so the cool thing that I guess an aside to that is every plan is different. We have similar tools that we will use, and some things might overlap here and there on the process to get from point A to point B, but everyone's plan is unique to them. Everyone has different strengths. Everyone has different weaknesses, different needs, different wants, and the way that those puzzle pieces are cut, everyone's individually cut their own jigsaw. So figuring out how to fit them in is really fun. That's a fun part of it, relationally, and then it's got that kind of puzzle piece creative
almost like a detective type solving the equation, so to speak.
Yeah, because inevitably too, we've been doing this, the company's been around 15 years, you've been doing it even longer. We've been doing this long enough that we've seen a lot of things, a lot of different circumstances. We've learned a lot, but we're also constantly learning more because there's just so much out there. It keeps us on our toes a little bit.
And then it changes.
Yeah.
And just like the Secure Act 1, Secure Act 2, 3 times, we've had 3 different required minimum distribution ages over the last 5 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And so people come to us and say, oh, that's 70 and a half. No. Oh, well, it's 72. No, it's 73. Well, unless you're born in 1960 or later. Now it's 75. And all these moving pieces, and just when you think, I've got that nailed down, there's a change, or there's just a little quirk. Congress is horrible. And I guess it's part of the negotiation process about just having these little odd quirks in the bills. Why is an IRA penalty free at 59 and a half? Why not 60? Why not 59? Why was it 50? Somebody said, I want 59. Somebody said, I want 60.
Yeah.
Let's negotiate and do 59 and a half. But it's just those little quirks and little hidden things that we find sometimes. It's like, we've never come across that. Now we know it. Now we can apply it. Very rare that it's going to come up. When it does, we need to know it.
That's right. So folks, as we move into 2026, this is a perfect time to redefine financial success in broader terms, not just wealth or performance, but confidence, family harmony, health, and fulfillment. When your financial strategies align with those principles, your wealth becomes a tool for living meaningfully, not just a measure of achievement.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We are out of time, but until we see each other again, remember, plan well and prosper. Take care.